The 2025 NFL Draft is in the rear view mirror, and with that, we take a look ahead at the undrafted free agents that the Baltimore Ravens have signed. There's a lot of them, okay? So buckle in. It's going to be a long video. We're going to break down every single one of these guys, tell you who they are, and talk a little bit about their futures, possibly with the Baltimore Ravens. Before we get into any of the undrafted free agents, though, we did this exact same video after the 2024 NFL Draft, and we got 19 subs off of it. That's great. It's a year later. We try to get better every single day. So can we pass that and then some? More than double it? Let's get 40 subscribers off of today's video because, you know, new year, new us. Let's get better. Hit that sub button. Alrighty, the first one. Jayson Jones, defensive tackle out of Auburn. It was obvious that Baltimore's draft strategy was, hey, let's get better on the interior of the defensive line. Let's get some more depth on the interior of the defensive line, and they did that, okay? They added a ton of guys at that position. Jayson Jones is another opportunity, another guy given another opportunity to come in and earn a starting spot. He wasn't, you know, unbelievable at Auburn this past year, only 17 tackles, and so I think it's probably a little bit of a long shot for him to make a roster spot, but he's a name, he's a guy, and he's going to have, you know, a good chance to challenge for a depth piece on this roster. Desmond Igbinosun, safety out of Rutgers. I actually really am excited about this guy. This is a guy I talked a decent bit about in my pre-draft process. Obviously, you went Malachi Starks with your first selection in the number 27 overall. But Desmond Igbinosun is a guy who's got a lot of really great things about his game. He's nice and tall, 223 pounds. He's really, you know, weathered. He's played a lot of football. He's really durable as well. And so I think if, you know, Sanusi Kane or Bo Brave, those guys have taken a step back over last year and haven't quite developed like Eric DeCosta and company thought that they would, Desmond Igbinosun is a guy that could possibly make this roster. What about Fortabo? Edge out of Towson, 33 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He looks like he's about, 42. He's not quite that old, but I also think it's going to be cool to give this guy who played some pretty small school ball a good chance and a good run at this roster. He produced pretty well. 33 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He's big, 235 pounds. He's from Maryland. That's his hometown of Germantown. And so you obviously went edge in the second round with Mike Green, but you look at, the likes of David Ajabo. Is he going to be a lock to make this roster? I'm not too sure. What about Adisa Isaac? Has he gotten over that injury? I'm not too sure. And so Fortabo, give it a chance to maybe make his name coming up in the summer. Who is your favorite UDFA that Baltimore signed? Let me know down below. I got a whole lot of other names to go over. Stay locked in with me. We got about, 12 to go? We got a lot more coming up. But if you like any of the ones I've said so far, or some ones I'm about to say, let me know in the comment section who is your favorite. Let's talk about Sone Ntoh from Monmouth. Now, there's a pretty good chance I just butchered that pronunciation. However, this dude is an absolute monster. 5'11", 220 pounds. Looks like he's built just of solid muscle. 109 carries, 25 touchdowns this past year with Monmouth. That means he scored a touchdown 1 every 4 times he touched the ball. This guy is a goal line running back, and I know this team has Derrick Henry, but he's a different type of goal line running back, right? He's a little bit lower center of gravity. Derrick Henry's like 6'4". This guy's a good 5 inches shorter. I think if he comes into camp, blows people away, can show that he's not just a touchdown machine when it comes to the red zone, but can be an every down back. I think that this is a really exciting signing. Let's talk about guard Reid Holskey. Guard wasn't addressed, I don't want to say necessarily in the way that I wanted it to. They drafted Emory Jones, who played tackle at LSU, and I know he's going to transition. He's going to play guard, and I think he's got some pretty good chances to be a really good guard in this league. And so I like the fact that they're going at this point on, UDFA day, just to give a little more depth, a little more competition at that position. Big guy, 6'6", 302 pounds as well. Had a pretty good PFF grade, didn't allow a sack in 14 games played this last year at Miami of Ohio. Let's talk about Jay Higgins, linebacker out of Iowa. He's a tackling machine, okay? And I actually thought that there was a chance that this guy was going to get drafted. I'm pretty sure that I had mock drafted him to Baltimore a couple of times in my mock drafts. He's a highly productive player, great football IQ, and he's a really good tackler as well. He's a downhill thumper with a solid feel in zone. However, there's a lot of things that he lacks, whether it's size, length, height, weight. Not very fast at all, did very, very poorly on his relative athletic scores, which obviously that's not going to be everything. There's some guys who didn't have great relative athletic scores who've still been really good in the league, but it sets you behind the 8 ball a little bit. But I still think there's a decent chance he can make a run because we know this linebacker position is going to be one big competition going into this summer. The draft is over, and now that we've had 24 hours to reflect on it, go ahead and let me know who's your favorite Ravens draft pick. And give me one outside of the top 2 rounds. I know you want to say Malachi Starks. I know you want to say Mike Green, but don't give me somebody that you think is going to be a sleeper. A sleeper, not really a sleeper because everybody knows how great they are, is our awesome friends over at House of Atlas. Man, they do so many things well, and after years of rocking facial hair, I've switched to the clean-shaven look, and I wanted to find a razor that matched my lifestyle. The existing brands out there really haven't innovated in years, and I was excited to see the new brand Atlas on the market. Their razor comes from creators of the brand Athena Club, which is a leading women's razor brand, and my wife actually loves it. They really know what they're doing. The blade head has 5 U.S.-made stainless steel blades that glide right through my facial hair. It is a high-performance serum strip that's infused with ingredients like aloe, vitamin E, and shea butter, which reduces irritation and helps prevent ingrowns. Guys, I tried forever to find a razor that was comfortable to my skin, and it didn't leave me nicked, didn't leave me with bumps, irritation, all that stuff that's really, really just annoying to deal with if you're a guy who grows facial hair. And so House of Atlas is what I found, and House of Atlas is what I use. This is their essential razor kit. It comes with 1 razor handle and 2 of the 5-blade refills. This is everything you could need in a razor. And then, of course, they have the aftershave. They have the shaving cream, which moisturizes your skin as well, gets you an even smoother look, cleaner shave, all of that you can find right there at House of Atlas. And now for a limited time, they're offering 15% off your first order when you purchase any razor kit and the before and after set, which is just the best market thing you can find on the market. It includes precision shave cream and calming aftershave. So use code CHAT at houseofatlas.com. That's HOUSEOFATLAS.com with promo code CHAT for 15% off your new razor kit and before and after set. Stop wasting time and money on shaving products that don't look good, aren't effective, and cost way too much. Visit houseofatlas.com today. Trust me, you will love it just as much as I did. All right, let's go to the next free agent signing. Sam Pitz, tight end out of Minnesota Duluth. 33 receptions, 360 yards. He's a big guy, though, from Appleton, Wisconsin. 6'5", 250 pounds. Mainly is, there to be a blocking tight end. He can be a receiving tight end if he needs to. And obviously, Mark Andrews is still on this roster. I'm pretty sure I could bet that Mark Andrews will be on this roster come the first game. And I think that Charlie Kolar, I'm a lot confident in. Have a ton of confidence in him. Got a ton of confidence in Isaiah Likely. So I think it's an outside chance that this team, carries more than 3 tight ends on this roster. Marquise Robinson, cornerback out of Arkansas, played a good bit of his ball. I believe it was South Alabama before transferring to Arkansas. He gets burned a little bit too much for my liking. 6 foot, 192 pounds, 35 tackles, 1 interception, 8 pass breakups. That is the really good thing about him is he does have some pretty good ball skills. And so because of that, I think there's a chance if he, Eric DeCosta and company feel like there's some things they can shore up just about his IQ and his kind of teach him a little bit of patience to, not jump on every single ball that gets thrown, every single pump fake. But he's got the skills, he's got the athleticism, and he is the 8th undrafted free agent signing. So what say you guys? Which UDFA, let me know in the comment section, has the best chance to make the roster? We're a little bit over halfway through all the signings. I think it's Jay Higgins just because linebacker is going to be a massive competition. That's who I would choose. You guys let me know down below. Let's talk about Jahmal Banks, wide receiver out of Nebraska. 587 yards, 3 touchdowns, 31 yards was his longest. 6'2", 218 pounds. Caught passes from Dylan Raiola this past year at Nebraska, whose offense had a lot of things to kind of get figured out. They had a freshman quarterback who showed flashes but wasn't the most consistent distributor. So I think a little bit of production probably took a hit because of that. But Jahmal Banks still had a pretty good season. And if he comes in and blows some guys away, there's a lot of spot for competition at the end of this wide receiver room. He's a guy who could, prove to earn a roster spot. And speaking of competition, we already talked about the linebacker room. Chandler Martin out of Memphis is another one of the signings, and 111 tackles this past year with the Tigers, 7 sacks. He's from Lithonia, Georgia, 5'11", 230 pounds. I think he goes right there with Jay Higgins. It's going to be so much competition in that linebacker room. I know you added Teddy Buchanan in the 4th round, and I know that Trenton Simpson is still there. But, guys, that thing's wide open. Chandler Martin's a guy I would not be surprised at all to see make a roster. Ruben Lowry, the 3rd cornerback out of Chattanooga, had a really good season in 2024. 62 tackles, 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups. He's a little bit on the smaller side for a cornerback, 5'9" and 1/4. Obviously, that's not terribly small, but it's not big in any sense of the word. However, he's got a lot of really good things to like about him. His top end speed is really, really good, can keep up with those speedy wide receivers. So look at him for challenging guys like, TJ Tampa and the other corners that were brought in, like Longer Beam out of Rutgers later in yesterday's draft. Keondre Jackson, safety out of Illinois State. He's 99 tackles, 3 interceptions, 9 pass breakups. He honestly does a lot of things really well. He helps in run defense. He's pretty great. He has good ball skills, obviously, as well. 3 interceptions, 9 pass breakups, 207 pounds. So he's about average size for safety. And look, I talked about it right off the rip when we talked about the first free agent signing. But outside of Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton, or Darius Washington, Bo Braid and Sanusi Kane still have things to prove to make this roster. So if Keondre Jackson comes in, he could be this year's Bo Braid, how, undrafted free agent out of Maryland made the roster. So take a look and keep an eye on him. Jared, Christian-Lichtenhan out of Oregon State, offensive tackle, actually had a really, really good season. Now he's really big, 6'8", 315 pounds, 83.9 PFF overall grade. It was obvious they wanted to add a lot in the offensive line in this draft, and they did it. And I think Jared has a chance to prove to be an offensive tackle depth piece for this team. He's not going to obviously challenge for any sort of a starting role. That's not even going to be in the realm of possibilities. But at his size, his strength, what he was able to do this last year at Oregon State, he could come in there, surprise a lot of people. Xavier Guillory, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Now, when Arizona State's top wide receiver went down, Xavier Guillory took that step up this past year. 340 yards, 5 touchdowns, 61 yards was his longest. He does a lot of things good. I don't know if he does really anything great. And so he's kind of one of those guys that I would not feel very strong about him making this roster, but he's really competitive. He's got a great drive to him. And again, he does a lot of things good, so it depends on what guys like Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh are looking for. Last but not least, Jared Penning, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. This is a guy that I also would not be surprised if he, made a run and made this roster. 12 games played, 65.4 PFF overall grade, 2 sacks allowed this past year, 6'5" and 3/8", 320 pounds. He's still really raw, which is, he's a 6-year senior, so that's not necessarily something you want to see. But, with that, I think some guys could look at that and say, if we get him in the right place and we get him a year to sit behind really good talent, maybe, I don't know if they'd waste a roster spot on him. Seems more like kind of like a practice squad guy that they could elevate next year. But I think he's got a lot there to work with. Here are the camp invites before we get on out of here. Keondre Jackson out of Baylor, Isaac Bunyan out of Maryland, Thomas Perry, the offensive lineman out of Middlebury. He is a name to watch. If I had to choose anybody on this list to kind of blow some people away, Thomas Perry would be that. I really like a lot about his game. Chibanu Fortabo, Jacob Dobbs, Keon Martin, and John Halen, the kicker out of Wyoming. So not only was there a kicker drafted, but also a kicker invited to minicamp. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. I'm going to get on out of here. I'm exhausted. It's been an awesome week of draft coverage. But hey, time for me to go home, get some sleep. Y'all do so as well. We'll see you next time.